Semper Fi, everyone. Welcome to the latest installment of Recon Jack. I'm your host, United States Marine Corps veteran and living historian, Chuck Lynch. On today's follow-up episode, I'll continue to discuss the actions of the United States Marine Corps during an unofficially declared Quasi-War between the US and France from 1798 to 1801. The years of the French Revolution and Napoleonic Wars were filled with rich opportunities and dangers for the United States. As a neutral, America's trade benefited, but old world powers challenged its position. France, a former US ally, applied political, diplomatic, and military pressure to force the United States into a pro-French alignment. French seizure of over 300 ships led the U.S. to respond with force in 1798 under the leadership of President John Adams and Secretary of the Navy Benjamin Stoddard. In May 1800, the USS Constitution was prowling through the Caribbean when it discovered a French corvette, the Sandwich, sitting in the harbor of Puerto Plata, Santo Domingo. The corvette was taking on a cargo of sugar and coffee and would make a rich prize. Puerto Plata was a Spanish settlement, but Silas Talbot, captain of the Constitution, could not resist an attempt to capture the Frenchman even though it lay in neutral waters. Talbot placed Captain Daniel Carmick with 40 Marines and Navy Lieutenant Isaac Hall with 40 sailors aboard a tiny sloop named the Sally. On the evening of 11 May, the Sally sailed for Puerto Plata, as innocent-looking above decks as the sloops that took Captain Samuel Nicholas and his Marines into New Providence, Bahamas. For 12 hours, the Marines and sailors sat in the sweltering hold of the Sally. About midnight, halfway to Puerto Plata, a man of war intercepted it, firing warning shots across the bow, and the sloop hove to for what seemed like a French trap. A longboat came alongside and a tall figure heading a party of armed men climbed out of the shadows and over the Sally's gunwale. As he walked under the dim light of the ship's lanterns, the scarlet of his coat glowed warmly across his shoulders. Lieutenant Hall, waiting to receive him, saw the man with a sigh of relief that the stranger was a British officer. Hall explained the Sally's mission. "Well, good luck," replied the English officer in a disappointed tone. "We have been watching that Frenchman. We were going to capture it when it came to port." "When she comes out of port," said Hall, "she will be my prize." Puerto Plata lay quiet in the noon sun when the Sally sailed in and edged up to the French corvette under the guns of the Spanish fort that commanded the harbor. The decks of the Sandwich were deserted, her crew apparently enjoying their Sunday dinner below deck. In Captain Carmick's own words, the men went aboard the French ship like devils. Totally surprised, the French crew offered no more resistance than a few scattered musket shots, and with the ship taken, Carmick and his Marines rowed ashore in the corvette's boats. They seized the Spanish fort at Puerto Plata, disabled its guns, and returned to the Sandwich, all within the remarkably short time of 30 minutes. Now was the objective to make the corvette ready to sail, for the topmasts were down and its canvas was furled. By 0600, the ship was rigged, but the wind had failed. Meanwhile, the town defenders, unable to use their cannon in the fort and unwilling to attack the alerted Americans by longboats, sent emissaries with flags of truce and bargaining propositions. Carmick and Hall refused to negotiate, and at 0200 the next morning, when the wind had freshened, they sailed their prize from the harbor unmolested. The exploit was admired by everyone. However, the authorities in Washington, D.C. were forced to admit that it was unlawful. Silas Talbot had been wrong in attacking a neutral Spanish fort. Later, the Sandwich was returned to the French. American warships, by defeating their equals and capturing more than 80 French vessels, gave the world a convincing demonstration that the U.S. military was a professional fighting force. The conflict also involved U.S. Marines on 23 September 1800 when they landed at Carachao, where the French were in possession of two forts. The sloops of war Merrimack and Patapsco landed Marines driving off the enemy within 2 days. The Treaty of France, signed in September 1800, was ratified on 3 February 1801. During the conflict, the U.S. Navy, having grown from 6 vessels to about 30 commissioned ships, had made prizes of approximately 85 French vessels. The experience built the Marine Corps and Navy into a unified service protecting the American merchant fleet that previously didn't have much protection. Lesson gained from the Quasi-War with France would prove to be fruitful in the early 19th century with the First Barbary War, the War of 1812, and the Second Barbary War. I hope you enjoyed today's conclusive episode of Recon Jack, and perhaps you've learned something new. I've only scratched the surface of some of the topics discussed, so stay tuned for more episodes as I continue to explore the hallowed history, traditions, and individuals of the United States Marine Corps. Please feel free to like this video, subscribe to my channel, click that notification bell, and leave a comment in the section below. I always enjoy interacting with you folks and seeing the growth of this channel. As always, don't forget to tell a friend or family member, and don't hesitate to send me an email to recon_jack@hotmail.com. Until next time, Semper Fi, and carry on.